Good morning, everyone. I'm really happy to be home. It's been an interesting congressional session so far. So again, good morning. Welcome to the National Clean Energy Summit. The summit this year is entitled The Power of Choice. So I'm really pleased to once again host this important event with the support of the Center for American Progress, the Clean Energy Project, MGM Resorts International, and the University of Nevada at Las Vegas. Over the last 4 years, this summit has brought together investors, innovators, academics, and policymakers dedicated to moving the clean energy industry forward. There should be no one in this room who doubts the importance of reducing our reliance on fossil fuels, not only because it's good for the environment, but because it's good for the economy and good for national security. We've already seen how incentives, funding, and public-private partnerships have spurred job creation and innovation in this most critical sector. This has been a ray of sunshine during the Great Recession. So it's easy to see the logic, the urgency, and the opportunity of a clean energy revolution, and it is a revolution. That's why President Obama has fought hard to advance the policies that will reduce our reliance on oil and fossil fuels, increase our production of clean energy, and create good-paying jobs, jobs that can never be outsourced. But his administration has waged an uphill battle against moneyed special interests and their allies in Congress who are invested in maintaining their sweetheart relationship with coal and oil companies. As hard it is to comprehend, there are still members of Congress resisting clean energy's American success story. And sadly, they're doing their best to send clean energy industries and jobs overseas and hindering the revolution that's in the process. 25 years ago, the first President Bush promised to use the White House effect to combat the greenhouse effect. Yet here it is a quarter of a century later. Too many elected officials in Washington are still calling climate change a liberal hoax. They falsely claim scientists are still debating whether carbon pollution is warming the planet. Of course, if those skeptics had taken a stroll with me along the Potomac River on a 70-degree day this February, they would have seen cherry trees blossoming earlier than any time since they were planted 100 years ago. Washington, D.C. experienced its warmest spring since record-keeping began in 1895. And back in the skeptics' home states, the harbingers of a changing climate are just as clear as those delicate February blossoms, and infinitely more perilous. This year alone, the United States has seen unparalleled extreme weather events. Events scientists say are exactly what's expected as the Earth's climate changes. The Midwest has experienced its most crushing drought in more than half a century, or maybe ever. Presently, disasters have been declared in the majority of the United States counties. The majority. More than half the country is experiencing drought, and 75% of the nation is abnormally dry this year. Corn crops are withering, and livestock are dying or going to slaughter early as heat waves parch America's breadbasket, breaking records set during the Woody Guthrie Dust Bowl days. Now, ravaging wildfires have replaced the dust storms of the 1930s. Devastating fires have swept New Mexico, Idaho, Colorado, and Nevada and other parts of the Mountain West, destroying hundreds and hundreds of homes and burning millions of trees. These fires are fed in part by vast areas of dead forest, ravaged by beetles and other pests that now survive through these warmer winters. On the East Coast, extreme thunderstorms and high winds called derechos, meaning literally straight-line storms, have eliminated power for 4.3 million customers in 10 states in the Mid-Atlantic region. One 38-year veteran of the utility industry told the New York Times recently, quote, "We've got the storm of the century every year now." Close quote. At the height of this storm, while the power was out and the air conditioning wasn't working, the East Coast experienced record high temperatures. Down south, the Mississippi River is nearly dry in various places, with shipping barges operating in only 5 feet of water. Just last Friday, barges were grounded because the water level was so low. And New Orleans' water supply is now being threatened by salt water moving up the Mississippi due to extremely low water. But while record drought has struck many parts of the United States, torrential rains have poured down in others. In June, the fourth tropical storm of the hurricane season, a season which typically begins in the fall, dropped 20 inches of rain on Florida. And our nation's infrastructure is literally falling apart because it wasn't designed to withstand these conditions. Runways are melting, trapping planes. Train tracks are bending, derailing subways. Highways are cracking, buckling, and breaking open. The water used to cool power plants, including nuclear power plants, has either run dry or reached dangerously high temperatures. And that's just in the United States, just through the month of July. Arctic sea ice is also at its lowest point in recorded history. This month, the massive ice sheet atop Greenland experienced sudden and almost uniform melting, a phenomenon not seen in the modern age. This spring, rain fell unexpectedly in Mecca, despite 109-degree temperatures. It was the hottest downpour in the planet's recorded history. The great Amazon River basin has experienced super flooding, reaching record high levels due to long summer rains and greater than normal glacial melting. Massive forest fires have swept Siberia. Monsoons in Bangladesh left hundreds dead and 7 million people homeless. And last week, more than 600 million people in India were without power. Late monsoons, record high temperatures, increased demand for electricity to irrigate crops and air-conditioned homes overloaded the fragile power grid, causing this blackout. Scientists say this is the genesis, the beginning. The more extreme climate change gets, the more extreme weather will get. In the words of one respected climate scientist, quote, "This is what global warming looks like," close quote. Dozens of new reports from scientists around the globe link extreme weather to climate change. There's another new one out today. Not every flood or drought can be attributed to human-induced transformation of our planet's weather patterns, but scientists report that these extreme events are dozens of times more likely because of those changes. The seriousness of this problem is not lost on your average American. The large majority of people finally believe climate change is real and that it is the cause of extreme weather. Yet, despite having overwhelming evidence and public opinion on our side, deniers still exist, fueled and funded by dirty energy profits. These people aren't just on the other side of the debate, they're on the other side of reality. It's time for all of us, whether we're leaders in Washington, members of the media, scientists, academics, environmentalists, or utility industry executives, to stop acting like those who ignore the crisis or deny it entirely exists have a valid point of view, because they don't. Virtually every respected independent scientist in the world agrees the problem is real and the time to act is now. Not tomorrow, not a week from now, not next month or next year, now, today. As Americans, we've had the power to choose the kind of world in which we live. Every decision we make, large and small, matters. Some choices are as simple as turning off the light when you leave the room. Others are more ambitious, such as committing the Department of Defense, the largest energy consumer in the world, to transition to clean, renewable energy. But every choice has benefits or consequences. About 50 miles north of Las Vegas, the Reid Gardner coal-fired power plant is nestled in the pastoral Moapa Valley. Since it began operating this power plant during the Johnson administration, Reid Gardner has burned tens of millions of tons of coal. Each year for the last 47 years, more than 2.8 million tons of climate-changing carbon dioxide, not to mention thousands of pounds of toxins such as arsenic, mercury, and lead, go up the plant's 4 smokestacks. But you see, about 2 football fields away from those smokestacks live a band of 300 Moapa Paiute Indians. Every day, Reid Gardner rains down on the dwindling Native American tribe fine particulates and coal ash filled with chemicals that cause cancer, emphysema, heart problems, to name just a few. This soot and the dangerous chemicals inside it is literally killing the Paiutes. It's no secret coal plants kill. Each year, more than 24,000 deaths are attributed to emissions from coal-fired power plants in the United States alone. That's why it's time to close the dirty relic, Reid Gardner. Each of you, just imagine living 2 football fields away from thousands of tons of poison, ever present, always spewing their toxins on your home. Every year we spend hundreds of millions of dollars buying coal from other states to burn in Nevada. It's time to make a different choice, a choice that brings new clean energy industries and jobs to Nevada, a choice to invest in our own natural resources. The more dirty coal we use, the higher the price of coal gets. The more solar power we use, the cheaper it gets. Shutting down this one coal-fired power plant won't save the planet all at once, but it would save an Indian homeland. A famous maxim says, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. For consumers, that step might be deciding to buy energy-efficient light bulbs, drive a next-generation vehicle, or turn off the lights when you leave the room. In Nevada, for Nevada Energy, the first step should be deciding to turn out the lights on Reid Gardner and turn them out forever.